We're pretty loud.
You ready?
Yes. Okay, I will open the meeting. Roll call is taken upon arrival. Can I have a motion and a second for the approval of the sanitary board minutes?
So moved. Second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Next, we have anyone here that's for petitions, communications, and public hearings. Not seeing anyone, so I will move on to the updates. Anthony or Dan?
Arlington first. We do Arlington Super Center first. I think it's last on the list there, but we have a survey out there, picking up existing features and then figuring out where everyone wants to septic tanks, so we're getting those shot in. So when we do the sewer extension, we can pick everybody up with ease, as much ease as possible. People that we ran into out there involved inside of projects moving, or the one we talked to, the other person out of the sewer.
Thank you.
Okay, phase 5A, this is one we are pushing to get permission to bid and binding commitments. We've submitted all the documents back to DOH and DEP, second round comes to DEP. Hopefully this is their final review. We've obtained all the rights of ways but one. I think we had to get a total of 12 or 13? 13. We got all but one, and it is Wendy's. They've not gotten back a hold of us. We can't wait any longer. I'm going to ask Mr. Stranko to get right of entry, because we have to have that to get permission to bid. We don't have to have the right of entry. We have to have a court date. That's the thing that DEP is now looking at. So we submitted a plat and description, I think, yesterday. Yeah, Monday. We talked last week. We got a plat description Monday, late afternoon, I think. So I just wanted to put that on the board's radar.
Wendy's won't respond?
Yeah, we've got a right-of-way agent as part of this project, and
Yeah,
that's right where we're crossing. It comes together at the V, goes down to Wendy's, and then we shoot across their parking lot to discharge. What is the 48 or confirming maybe kind of 60-inch storm sewer, doing the last check. So, but that's what we have to do to get all the water out there, because it all comes down from the bill there. The project, just want to make sure the estimated cost is higher than what we initially looked at a year or so ago. Remember, we expanded into doing some lining and manhole repairs on a bunch of the areas. And then during our investigation, it became apparent that we couldn't just lay a storm drain or sewer line issues and stuff like that. So as long as we're opening the street, we want to fix it all at once. The project's now estimated to be somewhere around the 9.1 million estimate. I worked with David Schreiber and Kim a little bit on the budget. We can still afford it. We're still trying to pay for it with a little bit of city ARPA funds, a big bunch of EEG, and that's why we're not only under pressure to get it out, we have to have rewards before the end of the year and to try to make the savings.
So the additional cost from what it was, where's that money coming from?
Probably going to borrow it, and we're making the phase B a little bit smaller. So we have to fix some of the stuff that is, if it's a long route for the pipe and stuff, we have to get that down. So we still have money for phase B. I had your accountant run both cash flows and submitted that to DEP showing this is where we needed. We also added a little bit of money into the cash flow because I know you guys got a problem at the Central Bus building that we're going to eventually have to fix, talking with Johnny Workman and stuff, and get that addressed.
So you went ahead and included the Central Bus issue
I showed them the cash flow that there's going to be some extra money coming out of the budget
to do that?
Because otherwise DEP, if you don't kind of include this stuff, and I'm still going to be questioned about it, they're going to say, do you really need debt to get the $1.5 million debt forgiveness for us? Can't you borrow it all? It looks like you have the money. And my argument pushback is going to be, well, no, we have line cleaning that we wanted to do that's set in there. We've had this, I'm not going to say emergency job, but this unexpected Central Bus thing. We actually, you guys had our guys up there, I think last week, there's an issue in Staley where there's some sinkholes that looks like it goes right around someone's house. So there's all this unexpected stuff that comes.
And what's our contingency, 10%?
Yeah, we're running through it to 10%.
10%.
contingency. That's what we'll ask. And then we'll know more on bid opening day. So we're moving that, we're trying to get it all put together. A little later on your agenda, you have approval of the accountant agreement and the bond council agreement. Mr. Stranko, I'm not going to speak for him, but he kind of started with all the right-of-ways and stuff. It's normal course of business for what we are doing. Now that we're getting into perceived, could be a condemnation right of entry, I think that's a little bit up. We've budgeted $10,000 in our big project for that. Don't see it going to cost that, but we may have to have a quick agreement approved, because all the professional agreements have to be in place before you can get the job. So once we get the other two, when we first talked about it, it's like, no, if I'm misspeaking, please don't. But I cover this under my normal course of being the sanitary board's attorney. I told him, now we're talking condemnation. We're going to budget a little bit just in case. So
So we would need an agreement for that to handle
We may
that.
need an agreement, maybe we could, if I get pushed back from the DEP, I'd like to bring his agreement to Ms. Fells, the chairman of the sanitary board, and have that approved if I could for part of the project, so I don't have to wait until next meeting. I really want to try to get this out within the next 2
You
weeks.
think maybe that we ought to make some kind of a motion to allow the chairman and Tim to work something out so we get it on the record? We need to,
Yeah.
and in that way, it might, because DEP might say, well, you know, did you have a meeting or something?
Can we add a motion for discussion? Is that, that's okay? Okay.
So that's kind of where we are on phase 5A. On B, which is a little bit more of the separation, but mostly the work at the wastewater treatment plant. When Dave Schreiber ran his numbers, we put those in there as well. So right now it shows that we can do it all and still have coverage.
Are we going to do that when the other project's done, or are we going to do them concurrently, or how's
We're
that?
gonna do it. Once we get this one out to bid and get started, Anthony's gonna finish the design of that one and get it out to bid. It'll be a little bit of offset.
Just to follow up on Dan's issues, when I do property work for the sanitary board, I just include that in my retainer. I'm not here to get rich at being an oil and gas lawyer, if that was my objective. But when we have to go to court, that's a lot more demanding on my time. So that's why, and if you look at the retainer agreement, it shows
It says that, yeah.
these things would be billed separately, so.
So if it says that already in the retainer agreement, do we even need, I mean, since it's outside of the scope, so you could all refer back to his agreement, we wouldn't even need a
That's
motion.
the point, Frank, thank you. You do have a contract already.
So I think that would take care of it. So then that would be just something you would work with Tiffany on.
Okay, good,
Okay.
thank you.
We'll send them that, say this is our estimated cost, and if they want more, we'll get it.
Okay.
But our goal is to try to get this out to bid by the end, advertised by the end of the month. That's our goal.
You have to have it at, what'd you have to have done by the end of the year, you said?
We have to be under contract.
Under contract by the end of the year?
Yeah, so if you think about it, let's say it's the end of September
Yeah,
1.
you got 6 weeks to bid, probably
Right,
6 to 8.
and then you gotta close on your financing, so that's been closing in December, so we're getting
Tight.
Getting
Yeah.
tight. So,
It's been your message lately, Dan.
uh,
Timelines are tight, hey? That's been your message lately.
yes, mine's are tight, and it's, there's a lot of stuff going out to bid, 'cause there's a lot of projects with these same issue. Thank you, guys.
Do we want to put through a resolution or consideration for a motion for that? Or do you just want it reflected in the minutes?
What do you
We're gonna
think,
rely on
Tim?
our pre-existing agreement.
So really, we really wouldn't need to do anything other than you would just work with Tiffany, because he gets paid outside of his
Right.
scope, so we've already covered that.
So we're good?
Course, we're
Everyone's
going to
comfortable
court,
with it.
right?
Okay, perfect. And that agreement makes sense, obviously, that would be much more work. Next, we have the consideration for the Phase 5A accountant agreement.
Madam Chairman, I make a motion that we accept the engagement agreement for Teacher Bartlett dated July 29th, 2024.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Carried. Next, we have the Phase 5A bond council agreement.
Madam Chairman, I make a motion that we approve and accept the bond council agreement with Steptoe and Johnson for the sewer revenue bond series 2024 dated August 6, 2024.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Next, we have the consideration of the award of bid for purchase of chemicals. I would like to ask Drew to come forward and just give us a bit of an explanation for his recommendation, because it is not the lowest bid, before we motion it.
My recommendation was Brentag for chlorine, but also I went with a little bit higher Brentag as well for sulfur, as well as they already do the sodium, and it was a little bit higher, but I just kept it all in the same company. So we just have to make one phone call, and they're already reliable getting there within five to 7 days.
What does Brentag have now? What do they give
They
us?
have a chlorine contract now. They have chlorine is sodium right now.
They don't
just
have,
didn't
they don't have
salt.
sulfur dioxide.
No, they did not have, that was Sicko, and the reason I'd rather go to Brentag is Sicko's been pretty tough to work with just in the past year.
Well, I think, I think we really need to get something on the record, so in case them other bidders come back against us, I think something to do with shipping. How about the shipping costs? And-
Yeah, Sicko was charging us $90 each time, and if they didn't bring it, we ordered 2 at a time, and they brought them separate, they were charging us shipping on both.
So what about the shipping cost for Brentag?
Brentag, it's not the same. Is it, Kelly?
Brentag's, I want to say $124 each delivery they come. But if we can get all 3 chemicals at one time, or sometimes get 2 at one time, the shipping will save us. Rather than going with these other companies and have different shipping, it'll make up for itself. I mean, we can't
Sicko-
always get all the
Sicko's been
chemicals
hard
at
to
once.
get, we cannot get a shipment with them.
So Drew, you feel confident in your recommendation that we should go with
I
Brentag for
feel
the?
confident with Brentag, because we can get them, when we call, they're usually there within 5 days.
Okay, then I will make a motion that we award the bid for chlorine to Brentag in the amount of $71.90 per 100 weight. For sulfur dioxide at $65.90 per 100 weight, and sodium permanganate at $13.97 per gallon per the recommendation of our superintendent.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? Just thank you for the explanation.
Thank you, Drew.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Next, we're on to reports. Mr. Linville,
I have nothing.
Mr. Ferrari,
I have nothing.
Kim?
I gave everyone a copy of just a brief report. There are no attachments right now. We're having a problem with ink code, so I'll send those out to you when I can. But we are right on schedule for the end of July with the revenue and expenditures, a little under on expenditures. Doing well so far. We transferred the $500,000 from, as an additional contribution from the revenue fund to the R&R. And we did not do the first revision yet. We'll probably have it next.
Kim, what about our annual audit? What's the status of our audit?
We have not received any direction from the state yet.
And we only need, we have the 24 audit, or we have to have the 23? Were 23 audits done?
Yes, that was done.
It's 24 is the one.
Yes.
And they won't let you they haven't said, let you go to bid or anything?
You know, I called them and they said, oh, you want to go to bid? And I said, well, yes, but they're still deciding. So we just sent them the schedule of our grants that we received during the year and waiting on them to decide.
Thank you. Drew, is there any further information you want to add?
I submitted today for the month of July the DMR report, with no violations to report. We treated approximately 199 million gallons of wastewater. We additionally received 213,950 gallons of septic and brought in a total of $9,278.50 of revenue. The yearly tank inspections are still ongoing. The new SCADA computer is on order. Mark from IT is building the computer for us, and we'll be setting it up. And today we had a DEP visit on our CSO program. Everything went well. We should be getting a report back whenever they have it done. That is all.
Thank you. Johnson.
Madam Chair, I had a great meeting with Mrs. Cross and Mr. Eddy. Last week, we put a final touch on that sewer service agreement, got them all out. Thank you for your help with that. And they've all been certified mail, receipt, return, so everybody's got them. Drew had one question from.
I talked to Eastview yesterday, answered their questions, and I talked to Sun Valley this morning and answered their questions.
No trouble as a result. So we're tracking to get those done. They should be completed in time for our permit renewal, so everything will be.
So basically, then we want them to come back and say that they're in agreement with them.
Yes, sir.
And then if there's any issues, then you guys resolve them before
Yes,
they.
sir. I can't imagine it would be.
Okay.
As Mr. Linville pointed out, maybe the first meeting I was here, it's tough to get our arms around wet weather. And we, we did everything we could to write these agreements to encourage our satellite friends to address these wet weather issues, but really, there's nothing we can measure or put on the ground to defend ourselves.
So every one of our satellites has a new agreement? Is that?
Yes, sir, every one of them has a.
Everyone will have the same date, and the only new thing really that was in it was they have to attach their flow from the water board or their water billing to their, when they send it in, they need to attach it now, and then everything else was, it just stayed the same.
It's really important part of our billing protocol. As you know, we allow them to report to us the water consumed. And we think that there may be some discrepancies. We're going to be working that out with Kim and Drew and Kelly. But the better protocol we've got in place now is they'll show us the water board number from their master meter billing and then nominate any deductions. Okay, well, you should deduct 30% because we lose that much water. And we'll look at that and agree or not agree to those deductions. Just trying to tighten up the billing protocol. And just changing the subject now on the Wendy's condemnation. To get immediate right of entry, which is what our friends at Thrasher are demanding,
Asking.
we need to pay some money into the court. And that money is the estimated value of the property that we're condemning. Well, all these easements we've been getting for free. So our position is the market value is zero. That's what we should pay into the court. But to try to avoid confrontation in the beginning of this, my recommendation is that we, $1,500, $2,000, whatever the chair feels comfortable with, is an estimate of their legal costs, so that they don't lose anything as we go forward. I think Dan and I will finish the complaint this week and get it to the chair, and she can review it, and then we'll talk about what you feel comfortable with as far as depositing that
So
surety.
who will serve Wendy's? The court?
Yes, sir.
Court will.
Yes, sir. Subject to your questions, that concludes my report.
Ashley, did you have anything to report?
No, I have a report this time.
That is everybody. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.